And what that does, although it's not biologically affecting sagging, it gives them a sense of confidence that I'm using this product, I'm feeling the benefits. So over 2 and 3 months of use, the technology can kick in and actually boost the structural proteins that you need to truly improve sagging in skin. And I think it's important to keep the customer in mind whenever you develop a product, even though it's a physical effect, similar to a color cosmetic. If it enables them to continue to use the product so they can see the real benefit, it's what we need to do. So we always look at that immediate benefit so they can see it's working, and then an intermediate where they start to feel it, and then the longer term. So if you're selling an anti-aging technology and it's something sagging or deep wrinkles, have them continue using the product 2 to 3 to maybe even 6 months before they judge and say, hey, it's not giving the needs I want. Like I said, typically you didn't get saggy overnight, you're not going to be unsaggy overnight either.
So we have to be patient, I think is the key.
And then we have the Ultimate 7S. So this, like I said, is one of my more proud moments, and I get to lead the team continually to grow the Ultimate brand. And it is a challenge because of how great it was when we started. And Ultimate in 2007 we launched looking at the sirtuin technology, and if you recall, it was a way to expand the healthy lifespan of skin cells. And since we launched that product, there's been an explosion in research in that area. And one of the things we were looking at as the initial team was, well, hey, I want to develop a technology that hits the most important sirtuin. And then all of a sudden we realized everybody's looking at this. So what we did was we actually developed a technology that can stimulate all 7 sirtuins, which actually work together to have your cells function properly, as well as activate them. Yeah. So one of the things you look at, you can have something that's stimulated. So the best analogy is if you want to build a house, you know, Rachel can go to the hardware store and buy all the lumber and the supplies. If she doesn't have the ability to actually physically build that house, she's just going to have a pile of lumber. So what we do with the Ultimate 7S is very similar. You can stimulate the sirtuin proteins, but if you don't have the cellular functions to actually make them work, they're not going to function. So we do both there, and that's something that nobody has to date either. And actually, some people may have noticed that, I don't know if you've tried the product, we actually worked very hard to improve the fragrance of the product.
Anyone notice a new smell? Yes.
Going back to the consumer, we did a lot of work on the science, where we did as much work finding a technology where we can actually have a product where, for the old Ultimate, it was great and it's #1, but some people say, I love it, but I don't like the way it smells. Now we've got both. Because it's, women try the product, they want to use it, you want them to keep using it. And if the first thing you do is smell it and you don't like it, it's going to turn you off. Then moving on to Reversalist. So this has activinol technology, and this breakthrough was really spawned from looking at medicine. And there's a scientist at the University of Michigan who described the aging process as an accumulation of these micro injuries in skin that fail to heal over time. So I always use a photocopy analogy, which probably is dated in today's world, but anybody who remembers copy machines, if you lost that original, the copies just continually got worse and worse and worse. And that's what the aging process is. So we actually looked at what the body does to respond to a wound to try to treat wrinkles. And that's how we ended up with activinol technology. Then moving on to 30 Plus for Rejuvenate. This was really targeting the benefits that the 30-plus woman would need. So we look at the softer anti-aging, texture, pores, things like that, really focusing on providing benefits there.
So Anthony, just before we go on to the and now, why should we use more than just, if I'm a Rejuvenate user, why don't I just use a moisturizer? Why should I use the whole regimen? Is there any benefit to that?
Oh, absolutely. It's very important to do the whole regimen for multiple reasons, but one of the things we saw from our research is people don't really cleanse. And, you wouldn't polish your nails without taking off the old nail polish. So why would you put your anti-aging moisturizer on without cleansing your face? And it's important to have a cleanser. It not only prepares your skin to receive the anti-aging benefits and allow the product to penetrate properly, it also removes impurities on your skin that have accumulated during the day and even while you sleep. And then you want to moisturize during the day, a moisturizer with sunscreen, and as well as a rich moisturizer at night to help replenish your skin while you sleep. So at a minimum, you want to do that. And then, as I said before, with the eye products, your eye is a very specialized area. So you just can't take your general moisturizer and put it on your eyes and hope to see the same benefits, because the structure around the eye is very different. So we really looked at very intensely. We actually send people into the field with cameras to people's homes to watch how they take care of themselves all around the world. We did it in Europe, we did it in Asia, we did it in the US. It's amazing how comfortable people will get with a camera in front of them. But we actually looked at, and we looked at their behaviors, and we probed them, and knowing what you need to do with your skin, and then knowing how people behave, we came up with this, cleanse, moisturize, and treat. Very simple, but very effective in getting your best anti-aging benefit. Okay, and now our latest is Aqua Youth. And one of the things we didn't have for a while was an anti-aging regime for people in their 20s. And typically you talk, I'm in my 20s, I don't need anti-aging, I look great. Well, the reality is what you're doing in your 20s is going to lead to what you look like when you're in your 40s. And I can attest to that, because when I look at my old passport, it makes me a little bit scared. We looked at the most basic thing. So the most basic thing for life is water. And water is required in life to do everything. And the Mars rover just landed, and there's no water on Mars, and there's no life. And even for you, you need to have water. And that's the most basic thing where all your cells function. So when you're in your 20s, you maybe don't need to treat a wrinkle, but you do need to keep your skin cells functioning optimally to fight off that wrinkle. Right. And we took the approach of looking at this water, and water balance is very important. Here's just a quick example, little biology 101 for us. So when you have a human cell, and it's healthy, it has this water balanced state. And you can take and expose that cell to too little water, it'll actually shrivel up. So the real world analogy is your dried apricot. And nothing says it more importantly than that wrinkled up dried apricot. Not enough water, not good. So you might think, well, we'll just throw more water on the skin and that will help. And what happens, if you've ever noticed, if you've gone swimming for a long period of time, what does all that water do to you? Not too good. What actually happens is, in conditions of too much water, your skin cells will actually absorb the water and they actually burst. So a real world analogy, and I do stuff like this with my kids, if you took a gummy bear and threw it in water, it would just expand until it explodes. Because too much water is bad.
So it's really about the balance, isn't it, with hydro,
right.
Hydro technology?
With us, it's not about more water, it's about balance. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So one of the things we look at, you don't have to always reinvent the wheel, and you can get your inspiration on what happens in the real world. So in nature, we have plants that are designed to live in the desert, plants that are designed to live in the swamp. Very extreme conditions, but constant. Humans don't have that. We go out, and today it's beautiful, and it's a nice dry day and sunny. Tomorrow it could be rainy and stormy and high humidity. Very varied conditions. How can we see how we can treat that? So in nature, it's a beautiful thing. There's actually creatures that live and plants that live in very similar conditions that we have to. So the crocodile, I picked this just special for my trip to Australia. The saltwater croc can actually live in fresh water. It can live on the beach. It's adjusted. Its body adjusts to these different moisture conditions. Same thing with many plants and algae. They actually can, if you go into like an estuary where fresh water meets salt water, it's that constant changing of hydration that those plants have to live with to survive. So we looked at that. How do these organisms do that? And it basically boils down to one scientific mechanism. And we partnered with somebody in industry to develop a technology where it actually helps us achieve this balance. And what we did here, this is our in vitro testing once again, which we took human skin cells, and this is in a control condition. So this is the optimal water balance that you need to have. Then we treat them with the H2O power technology, and we stress them to the different water conditions. Too much water, too little water, and you can see here they maintain their cell shape. The same skin cells without treatment, you can see their different shape. They either burst or they shrivel up. So that helps balance the water. And what does that mean to our customers at the end of the day? So when we use a product with the H2O power technology on there, we see skin's moisture level increase by 112%. But more importantly, that balance piece. So after 8 hours, the moisture level stays about the same. And that's the important piece. You can stick your hand in a glass of water and your moisture is going to be boosted, but it's not going to stay. And one of the more amazing things about this technology is we tested the product, we had people use it for 2 weeks, then stop using it, and come back a business week later and test their skin, and even after not using the product for a week, you still had a clinically significant increase in moisturization, keeping that moisture balance on the skin.
Wow.
So it's really above and beyond what you would expect from your other products.
So with the Aqua Youth, Anthony, it's really about prevention rather than reparative when we're talking skincare, isn't it?
Right, taking care of your skin the right way or as early as possible is going to help you look the best. And,
Yeah.
you know, if we could get everybody to use a good sunscreen and a product like Aqua Youth, they might not ever need an anti-aging product, which may be bad for me.
Yeah. Okay, so we are celebrating 20 years, and so you will get a tasty little treat on the way out. But seeing we have our expert here today, would anyone like to ask a question to Anthony? Yes.
What's the difference you were talking about clinical? Is there like an instant, obviously works instantly? The eye cream, so the clinical eye cream to the, say, ultimate eye cream, when would you use the clinical eye cream?
So the clinical eye lift is specifically designed for sagging. So Ultimate is more designed for under eye puffiness. So you have, and all of us get it to some extent at some point in time. Ultimate's really focused on under eye puffiness. So if you have that puffiness here, you would use that. If you have sagging of the eyelid or sagging of the lower eye, then you would use the Clinical Lift Pro.
So you would use that just for the day, or would you use that for a clinical for the day to replace?
The clinical can be used for the day, so it does have that instant benefit I talked about. And if you know, we do the Cinderella effect we talk about in R&D, you can use it and you get a lift pretty much in a few minutes if you want to. But if you really want to see that marked improvement in sagging over time, I would say use the product every day for a few months. And it can be used as maintenance. Yes?
I have like incredibly red nose all the time, and I get heaps of Rudolph jokes, etc. And I've tried heaps of products. Is there a product you'd recommend to try and get rid of that? I currently use the reverse list cream.
So you have red nose,
Yeah.
you said?
Yeah.
I would use the Luminosity Pro serum. So some of the testing we've done, and I'm not sure if we claim it here locally in Australia, was looking at what's called blotchy erythema. So it's blotchy redness that people have on their face. And that product actually treated that very well.
Okay, last question.
Yes, up the back. Yes.
You mentioned having a good cleanser is the basis.
Yes.
Are you thinking of having a cleanser for each age group? Or
We actually do have a cleanser in each subbrand.
There is a cleanser.
for the new feminist?
There is a cleanser, yes. Yeah, and the thing about the cleanser is, I mean, Anthony was telling me yesterday that it's not okay just to use any cleanser. I mean, cleanse is the most important thing, but the cleansers are actually designed at each age group, so they do have specific benefits. You know.
So if you're younger and in your 20s, you might have more oil production in your skin. So the Rejuvenate cleanser has more toning properties than, say, the Ultimate cleanser, because as you get older, your skin tends to be drier, so it'll cleanse your skin without drying.
Okay, well, I'd just like to thank Rachel and also Anthony for joining us for lunch.
Yes.
Yep, so if you do have any other questions, feel free to engage with Anthony during that time frame. But we're now going to head back to the conference room for the next session. So we're going to ask you to go straight back to the ballroom. Thank you, everyone.